Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the modified flipped lesson for 37A, rewriting into Vertex form. The notes I'm presenting here are the same notes that are in front of you as you should be watching this video. If you don't have your notes, please get them out so you can follow along. You will first see, obviously, notes about where the H and K refer to. Obviously, H is the how far left and right. So this means we're shifting horizontally, and K means shifting vertically. So this is affecting the X, and this is affecting the Y. So if we look here, written in vertex form, we're talking about H being 1 and K being 5. Because in the form, the general form itself, as we can see at the very top here, general form itself, X minus H squared plus K. So we want to always negate the H for it's there. So whatever the value of H is, if it's X plus or X minus, that'll change when we go to our actual values to find the turning point or the vertex. The K, of course, is you keep its sign. So on your sheet, you will notice that there's a worked out example going through the steps and process that's there. As you go through the steps, you will notice that the leading coefficient is in fact 2. When our leading coefficient is not 1, and this is a very specific case, you want to move that 5 over, in this case the 5, the C value over, and then you want to factor the A value out of the remaining binomial. As you do that, you will notice, going to the second page, that you now have this 2 here. This 2 and this 2 are the same. Whatever value you put in this box will be the same value in this box. But since you have a 2 as a leading coefficient, you must pick that 2 up as you go across. Here we end up with negative 2. This will turn out to be negative 2 divided by 2 quantities squared. Why? Because it's half of B, B being negative 2, half of B squared, as always. That results in it being a 1. Okay? But as we know, this is really negative 1 squared, thus negative 1 is right here. As I brought it across, negative 1 squared is 1, 2 times 1 being 2. I now have y minus 5 plus 2, resulting in y minus 3. The minus 3 is brought over, and our result is y equals 2, parenthesis, x minus 1 quantity squared, plus 3. Where my vertex is at 1, 3. So let's now try an example together. So we're down here at example number 1. So as I look at example number 1, I notice that my leading coefficient is 1. And since my leading coefficient is 1, I don't have to worry about factoring that 2 out. So the first step, of course, is to move the 3 over. So I end up at y minus 3 equals x squared plus 2x. I now complete the square on the right-hand side, and I get y minus 3 equals, and this becomes x squared plus 2x, plus 2 divided by 2 quantity square. That same value is now added to the other side, the left-hand side, 2 divided by 2 quantity square. As we've done with completing the query before, we can jump right now, this is now a positive 1, down to this step, where I now see I have x plus 1 square. This is a 1 square, so this becomes 1 plus y plus, minus 3, which of course becomes y minus 2 equals x plus 1 quantity square. So the result is y equals x plus 1 quantity square plus 2. My resulting vertex is going to be negative 1, comma 2. This also will be included in the answer key you receive as part of this packet. Let's take a look at example number 2. Example number 2 has a 2 in front of the x squared. Now if I had a 2 in front of the y, I would divide everything off by it. I can't just divide off by 2 here because then I'll have y over 2. So what I do is I want to come over and I want to move the 1 over, leaving the 2x squared and the 8x together. I will now factor the 2 out. Do not factor the 2x out. Just a 2. We want to leave a situation where I can actually have a difference, a completing the square situation on the right-hand side. Now I'm going to add here as well, half of b square. Half of b square. Now notice that 8 became the 4 when I factored the 2 out, but I also have to now account for that 2, so I multiply that by 2. Because this 4 divided by 2 quantity square is coming out of that parenthesis. That parenthesis has a 2 on top in front of it. It picks up the 2 as it goes over. We now have a situation where it's 2 radical, and this becomes x plus 2 whole quantity square. This turns into 4 divided by 2 is 4, or sorry, 4 divided by 2 is 2, square is 4, times 2 is 8, plus y plus 1. End up with y plus 9 equals 2 parenthesis x plus 2 quantity square. You now subtract 9 from both sides, and my result is y equals 2 parenthesis x plus 2 quantity square minus 9. My vertex here is going to be negative 2, comma negative 9. One last example to try, and then you'll have some to try on your own. Look at number 3. In number 3, you'll notice that there's both the x term and the constant term on the side with the y. Well, I only need the x term over to the other side, so let's leave the 7 alone and just move the 3x part. Resulting in y plus 7 equals x squared plus 3x. Now it's time to complete the square. Add 3/2 quantity square to both sides. Of course, on the right-hand side, this breaks down to be x plus 3/2 quantity square, as we've seen in our previous work with completing the square. Over here, I now put 9/4 plus y plus 7. Well, positive 7 is the same as saying 28/4 plus y plus 9/4, and we now end up with that side having a common denominator of the 4. As we now combine our like terms on the left, I will move this over so we can see. Right here. We now have 37/4 plus y equals x plus 3/2 quantity square. Y is equal to x plus 3/2 quantity square minus the 37/4. Our vertex here is negative 3/2, comma, negative 37/4. That's our vertex. As you do the other examples on your own, you can refer back to this video or to your answer key to make sure that you're doing it all correctly. Any questions that you have, please make note and bring them with you to class next time we meet, and I'll gladly answer them for you. Thank you.